And welcome to my Padlet for AASL Information and Knowledge Standard 3, related to Learner's Framework Standard 2.2 or A2.2 in the Think column. I chose to do my presentation on information and knowledge and finding credible, unbiased information for research. And I chose to focus on 8th grade pre-AP students because some of the resources that I found are a little more advanced, but I still think that they are appropriate for 8th grade pre-AP students who can work on acknowledging their bias and acknowledging bias in media. Some of the resources I found relate specifically to political things that are going on in the world right now, but a lot of those things could be related back to research topics that students might be interested in, might be hot button topics for this age of student. So the discussion question that I came up for them to have for this lesson is, how can you be sure that the information you find online is credible, true, and unbiased? Again, this framework standard relates back to that learners should be able to contribute a balanced perspective when participating in the learning community by adopting a discerning stance towards points of view and opinions expressed in information, resources, and learning products. And again, I've included the Standard 3 information and knowledge that goes with AASL. So I want to walk you through some of the resources that are on this page that are going to help to complete this lesson. And we'll go in order. There's a method to the madness. So the first thing that I've included is the Schmoop Reliable Sources video. I'm not going to play that right now, but to get it to work to where you can see it all full screen, you'll click this button right here, and then click play, and it will play the video. Just a brief introduction about how do you know if a source is credible, gives you a good idea of where to go with that. Next up is going to be a checklist that students are going to use to evaluate resources when we get to that point. Because the next few resources give a lot of information, I thought that this would be a good resource to begin with so that students can know what we're looking at. It's the CRAP checklist. I know a bunch of people aren't going to be a fan necessarily of that acronym, but I do think that it is something that will grab students' attention and hopefully help them to figure out what's going on. So if we click on that, you can see that it has a checklist that students can download or edit as well on here. You give the website, the URL. Things to evaluate include how old is the information, is it accurate? We can look at the organization of it to see whether or not it's trustworthy. If the person has authority, going back to, ethos, logos, pathos type things, we can tie that into this conversation as well. What's the purpose of the site? Acknowledging that almost everything has some kind of a bias, so if we look for the purpose, that can help us decide whether or not we're going to use it in research. This resource was created by Crystal Hansen, and I found it from the Utah Educators Network, and I thought it was a really great resource to have. So with those two things in mind, we're going to start to look at a couple of these other resources. First up are just places that have general information that students can use to help look up things related to whatever the research topics might be. First up is the Digital Public Library of America. It provides access to information about historical events, people, and places with collections of primary resources. This will be really important, especially in social studies classes, to go back and look at those primary resources. Of course, you click on it, it takes you to the website. You can search the collection, browse by topic. They have different online exhibitions. I like this for sure, quack cures and self-remedies. I would just find that really interesting. So that might be related to the anti-vax movement that's going on, might be something to go back and look at. How medicine and science has changed over the years, that could be something to look at there. Set of primary sources, kind of put together by topic, different ways that you can use the website. I think it's pretty cool. Next up, let's close out of that guy. Next up is the Library of Congress, which is pretty standard, great content for research. It's the largest library in the world, or in person is their tagline. It provides access to curated primary resources and other reliable content. Again, we're going to click on it. It talks about exhibits that they have at the Library of Congress. Tells you when this one's going to close. Baseball, having the primary resources to go with that would be really interesting. I know I've had a student before research the history of basketball, and I was a little leery to let him do that because I didn't know how many reliable sources there were going to be, but by using good resources like these, he was able to find lots of good information that was historically accurate. Trending searches, stuff about copyright. We have the library catalog, places to use photographs that you can cite where they're coming from that would be part of free use and or public domain. So lots of different options that are there. A lot of it probably isn't necessarily going to be related to research, but the things that you find there will be really great. We're doing history on research. Here are a bunch of really great primary resources. All right, next up, we have Data USA. It's a visual collection of data about topics relevant to America. I like this because I had never really seen it before. I like that you can look up a bunch of different things, use a data wheel. There are different topics you can use. It's limited, of course, to USA, and it doesn't always have the most information, but it's a good start if you're wanting to pull a statistic about whatever your research topic is going to be. So let's say we're talking about the opioid crisis. That's great. You can click on that, and we get graphs. We get visualizations if it ever pulls up. Awesome. So we can see different graphs, different maps that show how this crisis is affecting different places throughout the country. Over here, of course, we can pull up different maps related to this, related to other topics by using the drop-down menu. Things that are grouped by, shows us how they're grouped. We can say it's reliable because we have our source, gives us up-to-date information there, and also breaks down information there. So not the only place to get information for a research topic, but a really good place to pull accurate facts and figures. So those are the three that are just kind of in general what's going to help you with your research. Now, if we're talking a little bit more about how can you tell if something is credible, should you believe everything you read on the internet, we have these websites that are here. They're all pretty similar. I'll click on a couple of them and just show you what they look like. My favorite one is probably this Pro-Con. Second favorite might be All Sides over here. So Pro-Con is great. It brings you a lot of different topics. So let's maybe go with zoos. Not the most hot button topic, but it's a good start. Well, if my computer is going to agree with us, gives you general background information, answers the question, should zoos exist? A lot of people are going to say yes. A lot of people are going to say no. This gives you a good balanced approach of points that people have said arguing for or against something. Things are cited. You can sign up for that if you would like. And you can refer back to those things, do more research if needed. And the list kind of continues to go on. You can scroll through it. You can donate if you would like. You can vote. And there are footnotes that give our our citations. So I really like that it gives you both sides, but also backs everything up with actual citations that comes from a variety of different places. This video right here, this fake news, it's a big word or phrase that we hear all the time, whether or not something is fake news. I thought this was a really interesting video about how some of that is created and where it comes from, and that people definitely have a reason for what they are posting, and you have to get to the bottom of why those things are done. So really, I feel like this is a good video to just remind you to always check your facts and take everything with a grain of salt. All right, next up is all sides. Gotta click on the actual picture to take you to the website. So this one, I'm sure your parents or grandparents or whoever have a favorite newspaper or news station that they like to watch or listen to. A lot of my family are big fans of Fox News. So everything that I kind of see on my Facebook and see in a lot of different places are slanted to the right. I like this website because it gives you a headline from more of what this website deems a centrist publication, something from the left, and something from the right. I think it's really interesting to look at how these headlines are worded just a little bit differently to convey a certain type of mood that they're trying to get their reader to feel or to agree with. So I thought that that was really interesting. And of course, you can see that here. We have even more headlines. We have far left, moderate left, center, moderate right, far right, or conservative. So I think that that's really, really interesting because you can see things from a more balanced perspective than if you just go to one news site all the time. I like that they do point out that unbiased news doesn't exist, so they provide balanced news and civil discourse. They know that you're not going to agree with everything that you read or that you see, how it's presented, but they're just presenting the information for you. There are more things that you can look at here about media bias, dictionaries for things. Definitely cool to check out if you want to go down that rabbit hole. Two things that are coming up next are definitely geared towards politics. This is PolitiFact. This was one that I saw that seemed a little more biased, even though they do say in there about us that they try not to be. They tell us about their process, and by reading that, I was able to see that they do have a heavy editorial process that they use to try their best to remain nonpartisan, to remain balanced. And it is part of the Poynter Institute, which is from a university, so it's relatively trustworthy. Okay, so that is PolitiFact. Next up is Fact Check. It's very similar. Again, you can see that they have an About Us section, answer questions, give you resources, things like that. So it's pretty similar, has search features, things like that. So all of these resources are available for you to use when you pick your topic and when you're trying to figure out what information to include, whether or not it's valid, whether or not it's bipartisan or nonpartisan, and just to make sure it's trustworthy. So as you are working on your research, I want you to use these resources to find facts and to look up controversial opinions about things that you are seeing. Again, our discussion question for today was how can you be sure that you find information that is credible and true and unbiased or balanced? When you find any site, whether it is the ones listed here or it's through the library databases, we're going to use our CRAP checklist. So make sure that you remember that and you're going to keep copies of those while you do your research. All right, so that is our lesson for today. Just a brief overview of those things. You're going to have time to look at them later. So what I have to say to you now is happy hunting!